Hey, I'm Michael O'Hara. I'm the manager of major gifts here at the Buffalo City Mission. And I'm glad that you're watching this video and tuning in to learn a little bit more about the Buffalo City Mission that you might not already know. In fact, I'm finding that a lot of people don't even realize that we help homeless kids right here at the Buffalo City Mission at our women's shelter. And joined us to talk a little bit about that is Sue Moscato. And Sue is our
Director of Education and Training.
There you go. Thank you
Yes.
very much. Director of Education and Training. So I thought, what better way to share more about what happens to our kids and what we do to help them. But so this is a very unique program, actually across the state, right?
It is. We might have one of the only ones like this in the state.
Wow.
So it is definitely unique.
What's so unique about it?
Well, what's so unique is that when moms come in with their kids, we really look at it in a holistic approach, and that we want to make sure that because mom is going through some type of trauma and crisis, the kids are as well. And so we want to address that. So as soon as the kids come in, we do assessments, we get them enrolled into our child care program, our after school program. If it's summertime, we have a summer camp program. So depending on the age, my teachers are great. They do evaluations on the kids to find out where their gaps are, and we try to fill those educationally, socially, emotionally, spiritually. We try to hit everything. And if there are needs educationally, we link them up with the Buffalo Public Schools, so we can get early intervention involved, or the Committee on Preschool Special Education. So we work with all the different needs that our kids come to us with.
So there's some hurdles in the kids' lives, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you guys are probably seeing the books in the background, and that we're in the childcare, one of the after-school program centers, and there's lots of programs that go on here that Sue just mentioned. And we'll probably over the next couple of months, we'll do some more videos where we show you a little bit of our childcare program, because right now we have an initiative to fund this program, and we want people to really know the ins and outs. But you mentioned within the umbrella of the child care program, there's a few different ones, right? A few different programs,
right?
4 maybe.
Three.
Okay,
Three.
what are those?
We
again?
have three.
You mentioned those earlier.
So it's our early childhood education program, which is for children 6 weeks to 4 years old. Then we have the after school program, which is obviously during the school year, and that is for 5 to 12-year-olds. But then we pick up in the summer for that same age group, and we have a 6-week program that is full days while the kids are off of school, and that's a riot. The kids have so much fun.
That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, earlier when we were walking down here to the after school program, we passed a box in the hallway with holes cut in it, and you're talking about that they made a spaceship, and somebody put it on rollers, and they roll around the hallways, and
because that's good kid fun. That's what this is all about. We want them to have those experiences. I mean, it's fun for us.
But a minute, you got in.
I did get in.
Okay.
And I rode around, and there was no one to film me, so I was kind of happy and I was kind of disappointed at the same time. But I did have a child, so it made it look a little more acceptable.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just me.
Well, okay, this is great because a child that comes to the Buffalo City Mission, usually with a mom.
Right.
A third of our women are here for domestic violence. You were talking about trauma earlier.
Right.
So just having a playtime like that just brings a sense of normalcy, right?
Right, absolutely. Because there's a whole lot when you have kids that are from a home situation that isn't routine and consistent. And obviously, if they've ended up in a situation where they need to come to Cornerstone, praise God, they're here. But in the same respect, something has gone wrong. And so we try to bring some normalcy to it, bring some routine and consistency, both for mom and for the child, because we know that's where kids thrive and can grow and feel safe. And so because of there's something called ACEs, which is Adverse Childhood Experiences. So we're trained on that a little bit. We're not by any means expert in the area, but we know what we need to know. And the kids who experience
We'll talk about it for a minute, because you were talking about trauma for the women, and we've talked about a third of our women that come to us are here for domestic violence.
Right.
But the kids have trauma. The women are worried about their kids.
Right.
And our goal is for them to thrive. So talk about ACEs for a second.
Okay, so ACEs are adverse childhood experiences. So it's anything that could happen. There's like 10 different criteria that they measure. And so it could be having someone there's drug use in the home. It could be a divorce situation. It could be incarceration. It can be abuse of various kinds, or neglect. So there's 10 different things that you can look at that cause kids to not develop properly, throughout. And the more ACEs they have when they're little, the more likely they are to repeat that cycle and to be an adult that is having more ACEs, which there's tons of long-term effects. We don't even need to go into it. But our goal is to kind of stop that pattern, to work with the moms to make sure that they're not perpetuating that.
Right.
And also work with the kids to, like I said, fill in the gaps and make sure that those needs are being met.
Okay.
So,
So really to stop the problem and then give them a foundation to move forward from those areas and then not perpetuate those later on. So that's really, I think a lot of people would want to know that the women, but let's talk, since we're talking about the kids, success stories, or like, have you seen kids, their demeanor totally change? Or,
absolutely.
Or have they been excelling in school, or what's some things we can brag about?
We can brag about lots of things.
Okay.
We could be here all day if we're going to brag about my kids. There's a ton of things. We've had kids that have come here. One of our favorites is a little one who came to us, didn't speak any English at all because she was from out of the country, left us 3 years later, went into a private school and excels.
Wow.
And her mom actually kept her here for her pre-K year because she had such individualized attention that we were able to give her because our class sizes are small. So that was a huge one. We had one little guy. He's one of my...
Which the daycare is actually open to the community.
It is. It is open to the community, staff members, and our clients.
Yeah.
So we work with anybody who wants to send their kiddos here. One of my favorites was a little guy we had, and his mom was successful at moving out, which was really super. We were so excited. He was so mad that he was asking, he was 4, and he was graduating, like going into kindergarten.
Okay.
He cried through the entire graduation ceremony and was going around asking the other moms if he could live with them so he could stay here. Like, he didn't want to leave. He was willing to leave his mother and brother so he could stay here. So it's kind of funny. But the kids really develop relationships. They know this is a safe place. They know it's safe. They have good feelings. They have lots of aunts and lots of grandmas in the building because all the ladies love on the kids.
Yeah.
And so it's neat. It's neat to see the relationships that develop. And we know that's a huge way for kids to grow. It's just knowing that they're loved.
Well, the early childhood education program, it's 5 days a week. It's a cost of around $200,000 in our operating budget.
Sorry.
And it's needed. I mean, you're making a huge difference in the kids, which also means you're making a huge difference in their moms.
Right.
And setting them on the road to success. It comes a cost with that.
Right. Well, so, the other aspect, if I could jump in there, is the reason we have the Child Care Center is because I also oversee all of the adult education for both the men and the women. So while the kids are in daycare, we have classes going in-house, partnerships, vocational training, things like that for the moms to go to. So there's spiritual classes, literacy classes, just regular life skill classes that we have. There's exercise classes. We try to hit all the academic areas that the moms need because our goal is to meet them where they're at and then help them. So they need to not have to worry about their children while they're accomplishing the goals that they need to that will lead to a place of stability.
Yeah.
So that way when they move out, they're educated and whole and ready and their kids are in that same
This is
boat.
creating the perfect environment for giving them the best opportunity to really succeed and move forward.
Right.
So that's the early childhood development program here at the Buffalo City Mission. You may not knew about it, but you know about it now. That costs around $200,000 per year. It's 5 days a week, so that really breaks out to about $770 a day. But as we as a community can pitch in, we can help cover that cost for these kids and really help them, propel them to success and, as Sue was saying, thriving. So
yes.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks for
You're welcome.
sharing with us.
My pleasure, always.
Bye.